We have outside at the table with 5G awareness, I brought some of our materials that have that information on it and also talks about the things that I'm not going to get to today, energy consumption from all of these new devices, and the impact to our climate change. And we also have a flyer that we are getting the word out about 5G, your health and the environment, which I hope that everyone will take as well. This is the swipe and feed. Parents can use the mobile phones while bottle feeding. It's a plastic apparatus you put your phone in. The iPad for potty training. Childproof your iPad. Now, I actually bought this because I wanted to have it for raising awareness. And it really does exist. It protects the device, but not the baby. There was no pre-market safety testing for long-term exposure of cell phone radiation, certainly on children. And the short story and the sad story and what broke my heart when I first learned about this, because I was sure that it was a mistake and that, of course, they were safe. Wireless technology was developed for radar and military use. There were a lot of research in the Cold War, a lot of research in Russia and the United States on this issue. In fact, microwaves were first called radar ranges. And the first cell phones came out, but in 1996 was when laws and regulations that we have now were set. It was the Telecom Act was passed, the most heavily lobbied bill at the time. It may still be the most heavily lobbied bill ever. And the EPA was defunded. They were setting safety limits. They were looking at the research and setting limits based on heat, and then they were going to set limits based on protecting from biological effects. But they were defunded. And we took on industry recommendations from industry-filled groups, and they're based on protecting from heat only. One only need look at the minutes from some of these organizations to understand the industry influence. This is from the International Commission on Electromagnetic Safety of the IEEE, the approved meeting minutes. And where is it located? At Motorola Solutions. And also, the chief scientist of Motorola was a co-head to the group that helped set the safety limits for years and years. This is, again, modeling showing...
Children are proportionally...
Oh, sorry. That was actually the engineer speaking. I didn't realize I had the sound on. We have videos showing this radiation and the rate of absorption in the body, because just because it is invisible does not mean it is not there. And that is why we are trying to showcase this, to help people understand that you can ignore it, you can try not to think about it, but it is very much there and being absorbed into our bodies. And our kids are being sold devices. I'm not going to play this video, but it's all showing first steps, first birthday party, first this, first that. It's a Sprint commercial, and then first cell phone, making it seem like it is a rite of passage for a child to get a cell phone. And as Jean Kilbourne talks about, I mean, it does seem like a rite of passage, right? It's like, oh, you're getting your first cell phone. It's the most exciting thing. Your child is just overjoyed. Oh, Mom, when will I get that first cell phone? That is what has happened to us. But that is manufactured by companies, because I remember, and I'm sure many people in this room remember, when cell phones first came out, we could not imagine what a child would possibly need it for. That was like when you got to college. I got it when I started working, and I needed it for safety, supposedly. Because my car broke down a lot. And never, I mean, who could have even thought we would be where we were now? But don't worry if your kid can't handle it, if they're not ready for it, because that same company that said, actually this whole video talks about how you have to make sure your child is old enough and is mature enough, but if they're not, they can sell you a plan to block texting during family time so that parents can see what the kids are doing, to filter content, etc. The other thing that's happening in this messaging is promoting binging on devices and on the screens. Join Xfinity for Sofa Sunday, giving you permission to binge. Introducing Binge On, only from T-Mobile. And you can binge on the beach. This beautiful beach. You can look at a screen. Binge, they're talking about binging like watching whatever you want, whenever you want, as long as you want, show after show after show. I'm shocked now with, we were watching something on Netflix, and we don't actually have a TV, but we do watch videos and that we have for movies. And right when you're done with one show, the next show comes right on. So let's say you're like, when you get stuck in a show, but then the next one comes on, you want to know what happens the next one, and you can just watch, you could watch all night. There's no break. That is what they want. The goal is to have us looking at screens for as long as possible. That is the goal of the designers of the technology, even to our youngest. And yes, we can buy family mode to manage our kids' online activities. Now, there's research that just came out. It was published in JAMA, that was looking at toddlers, children aged 3 to 5. And they found that the more screen use, the decreased integrity of the white matter in the brain. And that's in kids 3 to 5. And I never thought, when I got into this about a decade ago, I just never thought we'd be here, actually, where kids 3 to 5 are using screens. Because at that time, it was really just phones. But now there's iPads and all manner of wireless devices. This is Dr. Hugh Taylor, Chief of Obstetrics at Yale Medicine. And it's a still from the Baby Safe Project. I hope you will write that down, Baby Safe Project. Take a look at their website and the information that they have to share. In this video, he talks about research he did looking at mice who were pregnant, exposed to the cell phone, and found that the offspring, the baby mice, when they got to be like teenage aged, had hyperactivity, damaged memory, and altered brain function. Close to, as he would say, if mice could have ADHD, that's what they had. Now, there's also research showing damage to animal brains in Turkey and in other countries. There's research out of Switzerland. They looked at hundreds of teenagers, and they found that those who had more hours of the phone to the head after 1 year had memory damage. And that was a replication study. So please go to the Baby Safe Project and take a look at their materials. They have an appeal signed by over 270, I think, educators, scientists, and medical doctors recommending keeping the phone away from your pregnancy. And yet, Elmo has Smarty the smartphone. And Smarty the smartphone, and I love Sesame Street. I was raised on Sesame Street, but the phone, he's hugging the phone because he loves the phone. The phone tells him things. The phone is smart and helps Elmo learn things. I would love for any parents who want to get involved in advocating to Sesame Street to make a change on this, and instead to teach digital citizenship and how to keep the phone away from your body and how to use technology responsibly. Because kids hug devices. This is the Echo Dot. It's rainbow. And it is the advertising is promoting it for children to be in children's room. It has characters that children love that it can listen to. It is being actively marketed to children, except it has a fine print warning. All of these virtual speakers have warnings saying this device should be installed and operated with a minimum distance of 20 centimeters between the radiator and your body. And this child, I pulled this from YouTube where she's singing, she's adorable, and she's singing the song with the speaker hugged to her body. And it is emitting radiation. It's connecting to the Wi-Fi router. But we don't know, most people aren't aware of that.